A sinister plot to bleed India was brewing in the state of Assam, as per the Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. And his government has adopted the bulldozer model to intensify this crackdown against radicalism. Today, a bulldozer demolished a madrasa run by Mufti Mustafa, an alleged mastermind of the Al-Qaeda Ansar Bangla network in Assam. He was arrested on the 27th of July for indoctrinating children in the madrasa. The Assam government has detailed the clear and present danger. The Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma highlighted how the state is becoming a hotbed for Islamists and that 5 terror modules were busted in a span of 4 to 5 months, highlights how the situation there is quite serious. Himanta Biswa Sarma also said that jihadi literature had been seized from the demolished madrasa and that jihadi videos were also found on the arrested suspects. Let's listen in.
Specific information was received that a person by the name of Mustafa, alias Mufti Mustafa, is an important financial conduit of the recently busted an ABT module in India. The ABT is linked to Al-Qaeda in Indian subcontinent. He opened a madrasa by the name of Jaimul Huda Madrasa at Saharigao, Moirabari. 43 students were studying in this madrasa. So we have demolished that madrasa also. He was indoctrinating even the small children. Bangladeshৰ পৰা যেতিয়া আহিছিল মাদ্ৰাসা খনতে Bangladesh national বিলাকক তেওঁ ৰাখিছিলে in a room adjacent to the madrasa. Jihadi literature Kitabul Jihad recovered from his madrasa. Electronic evidence, jihadi videos found on his phone in last 4-5 months from the March till August. We could blast 5 modules of ABT, then you can imagine that আমি কি ধৰণৰ সিচুৱেশ্যনত অসমত আছো. From today, I am addressing the people of Assam through you that yes, now onwards we have to keep a close watch on imams and madrasa teachers who are not from the state of Assam.
Now, the opposition has taken serious exception to the action that's been initiated by the Assam government under Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma. The Congress party has said that the bulldozer action is nothing but a targeted action against members of a particular community. The RJD claims that Himanta Biswa Sarma is following Yogi Adityanath's footprint to target madrasas now in Assam.
देखिए, जिस तरह से असम में मदरसे को गिराया गया है, ये सीधा एक कम्युनिटी को टारगेट किया गया है और जिसकी हम बरतस निंदा करते हैं. अगर भारत सरकार को कुछ एक्शन करना है तो उन आरएसएस के स्कूलों पे करना चाहिए जो देश के अंदर गिरिना फैला रहे हैं और देश के अंदर धार्मिक उन्माद फैलाने का काम कर रहे हैं.
अदालत में आपने रिपोर्ट पेश की, ना कहीं पेश की, ना जज साहब ने देखा, ना पुलिस ने अपनी एफआईआर दर्ज कराई, ना चार्जशीट लगाई. और मंत्री जी ने कहा और सरकार ने कहा और बिना अदालत के, बिना कानून के, बिना संविधान के सब हो गया. और अगर आप ही अदालत हैं कि नहीं साहब, आपने जो कह दिया वो पत्थर की लकीर है हेमंत विश्वा शर्मा जी की, आप ही अदालत हैं, तो अपने के सारे कोर्ट बंद कर दीजिए आप.
Let's listen to this reaction coming in from the BJP as well, which has hit out at the opposition's criticism.
बुलडोजर बात नहीं है, जो भी इल्लीगल है, जो देश के खिलाफ काम करेगा उसको इस समाज में रहने का अधिकार नहीं है. ये देश का हित सर्वोपरि है, सबसे पहले देश है, धर्म से ऊपर भी देश है.
तो यहाँ भी सर बुलडोजर देखने को मिलेगा, कार्रवाई अगर
फिर यदि कहीं कोई गलत होगा तो कार्रवाई तो की जाएगी, परंतु मुद्दा ये है कि हमें इस देश के हित को सर्वोपरि रखना होगा.
Right, we're also being joined by 2 guests for their perspective on what's been happening in the state of Assam. Mr. S.S. Sriram, political analyst, joins us on the broadcast, as does Advocate Talha Amir Rashidi, spokesperson of the Rashtriya Ulema Council. Mr. Rashidi, coming to you first, how do you respond to the justification given by the Assam Chief Minister as well as people from within the BJP for the demolition of this specific madrasa where illegal activities were unearthed and that the Mufti presiding over this madrasa was responsible for seeking to indoctrinate young children into radicalism? What's your response?
This is Clearly, this is a clear-cut case of, Islamophobia, and at the same time, it's an attempt to demonize the whole Muslim community. My question here is that the madrasa was already sealed. If the director or if the owner of whomsoever he was, that particular Mufti Mustafa, the government is accusing him of, if he was responsible for some anti-national activities, he would go through the law of the land. The courts would punish him. He has been arrested. FIR has been filed against him. What is the responsibility of that particular institute or that particular building or that particular place known as the madrasa? Why has the madrasa been demolished? My question is that if a school, if some Shishu Niketan, Bal Vidya Mandir or some so-called Rashtrwadi Sanstha aligned school, if the director or the principal of it or the teacher of such schools gets involved into some anti-national activities and is arrested by the police, will the government demolish the school? Will the government demolish these Shishu Niketans, Bal Niketans, or this is only for the madrasas? This clearly shows the discrimination being done by the government. They want to send across a message to their highly radicalized bhaks that we are punishing them. We are doing that, they call on IT cell, Churi Kasna. They are clearly sending across that message.
Right,
that we are punishing that particular community.
Just to bring this to your notice, the students who were studying in that particular madrasa have now been sent to other schools, so it's not like they've lost out on something as a result of this demolition. Okay. Moreover, the Assam government claims that it has invoked provisions under the Disaster Management Act as well to carry out with the demolition. But let me take your point across the points that you made to Mr. S.S. Sriram as well. Mr. S.S. Sriram, Mr. Rashidi's allegation here against Mr. Sarma and the BJP is that this action is selective, that this will never be employed against any Hindu-run organization.
No, I wouldn't agree to the gentleman's views. Basically, the safety of the state people is very important. So will be the country's safety. And there has been a very clear evidence about the gentleman's activity. And more importantly, I'm sure my fellow debater would also accept that young minds can never be poisoned. I'm sure the parents are sending these boys to the madrasa as to educate themselves and not to get radicalized. So I would be happy if he is also part of the country as a whole and to ensure that such people are removed so that innocent Muslims are not fallen into prey or lose their lives because of these radicalized terrorists. Let us look at him as a terrorist. Let us not give any color to his religion. Let it not be looked as though it is being a vindictive action. Certainly, this is the way, and the boys are well taken care. They have been given to other madrasas where their education is not affected. Let there be a sense of fear that the state does not have a free run for these radicalized fellows to actually innocently, poison the minds of young kids. I think this is the right way to send in a strong message that Assam is not for radicalized Muslims, neither will be the country for that matter.
Right, Mr. Rashidi, the allegations that have been leveled against the Mufti in question who was presiding over this madrasa since 2018 is that not only was he seeking to indoctrinate young minds into radicalism, he was also in fact somebody with alleged links to the Ansarul Bangla as well as the AQIS, which is the Al-Qaeda in South Asia. So we're talking about an extremely sinister plot in order to infiltrate territory within India and radicalize young children in Islamist terror. So therefore, there's a proportionate action that's been initiated by the Assam government. That's the defense that's coming in from the likes of Mr. Sarma. Do you believe that action is proportionate? Because it's something that needs to in fact be conveyed to any other people with the similar intention seeking to infiltrate and radicalize young minds here in India.
An FIR has been filed. First of all, I'm not here to defend that particular Mufti, whatever his name is, that person who is accused in these terror activities. But this country is run by law. There's a system, there's a process of law that should be followed. An FIR has been filed. That particular person who has been accused of this case has been arrested, and UAPA has been imposed. That is the harshest of the act of the law that has been imposed on the particular accused person. Now, what I'm here to ask
let me just interrupt you there, Mr. Rashidi. We're also getting more reactions now, this time from the Congress party as well. The Congress party has questioned the terror crackdown that's been initiated by the Assam government, saying that anything linked to Muslims is now being demonized by the dispensation there in Assam. So the Congress party hitting out at not just the demolition that was witnessed in a part of Assam, but also the larger terror crackdown that's been initiated in the state. Let's listen in.
Now, bulldozer has been used to demolish this madrasa in Moregaon. How do you see this?
See, this bulldozer culture, this targeting of one religious institutions belonging to one community, targeting the religious preachers and the clergy class of one community, trying to defame them, trying to discredit them, is something that the BJP has been doing. And this is one way how they are trying to polarize and discredit the entire community. I think this country, after independence, has been very pluralistic, has embraced the diversity, has tried to accommodate every thought process, every sect, every school of thought in this country. And this has been happening for thousands of years also. I'm speaking of post-independence. But now, just because they are failing on every front, they are resorting to these tactics and trying to create a wedge between two communities, polarize them and win election.
But do you think the terror crackdown is not legitimate or not as per law? Or do you think bulldozer is extra constitutional? Is that the point you're making?
See, I'll tell you, anyone in this country who terrorizes, whether with the use of government agencies or whether it is of one community or other community, or whether he is importing terror from abroad, whether he is a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or a Sikh, whoever it is, he is a terrorist or is getting involved in terrorist activity.
Right, let me in fact take this across to Mr. Sriram because we had Mr. Rashidi speak a short while ago and he was specifically questioning the act of demolition there using the bulldozer to in fact bring down the madrasa. Of course, he did not weigh in too much on the antecedents of the person who was arrested. But Mr. Sriram, do you think the bulldozing was justified?
I'm still again telling you, let us not bring in religion to all this, any terror activity, no matter who's behind. Let's not get the religion there. That is my simple, we should terrorize those who are trying to terrorize the nation or who are trying to terrorize innocent people. What is wrong in terrorizing them back? So this is the way sometimes people understand the language. So you name anyone. Tomorrow it can be, if you have a genuine concern of any specific Hindu group who are probably planning a terrorist activity or a Christian group, I don't even want to name such religions. I'm just telling you because you're trying to say that one religion is being targeted, which is why I'm forced to name these other religions. Whoever they may be, if there is a credible evidence about...
Right, let me just interrupt you there, Mr. Sriram. Thank you very much for your inputs and thanks to Mr. Rashidi as well for joining us on this broadcast. We have to slip into a very short break right now. We'll come back with more news on the other side. Stay tuned.